When you do something this small that seems so insignificant, it just feels good because you did it. Look at that. That's cool, right? That works the way I want it to work. I don't know if it works the way it needs to work, but it works the way I want it to work. What are the next steps? The next steps are to get him to gust, to basically blow air. We have little air sprites, which I haven't imported yet, but we'll have air sprites. And what'll happen is when I hit the space bar, a little poof of air will poof, poof, poof. Will shoot out. Poof, 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 poof. I'm curious to see how this is going to work, because I don't know if it's just going to poof out here and be done, because he's moving and poof. I don't know how it's going to look visually, if it's going to feel weird just to see a rectangle of air shoot out. I don't know if the air needs to kind of like drift backwards a little bit. I think that would make sense. It can't just poof and stay out here. Maybe it can. I wonder if there's like a delay, right? He poofs, it shoots out for like a beat, whatever a beat is, and then it drifts back with the camera move. I don't know how to make that work, but we'll figure it out. So next step is we'll do the air poofs. We'll get them going. We'll get them working. That'll be strong to have that done. And once the air poofs are done, we'll have that turn off the candles. Yeah, we'll have the air poofs turn off the candles. I think I need to stop the auto moving platforms for the time being, just have static platforms without having to worry about them rolling in. I want to do that first, but also I can't just be making a bunch of global variables nonstop, and I'm going to have to make a bunch more to test all of this just to make sure what I think GameMaker should be doing it's actually doing, and if it's not doing what I think it should be doing, then I need to research how it works. And that's been very handy to have these variables here on the screen, because I'm like, this should be changing. Why is it not working? And I can be like, oh, well, because it's false. You need it to be true. Why is it not true? And you're like, oh, but I didn't tell it to be true. I'm going crazy. So having these variables is very handy. As I was saying earlier, I have all that stuff set to global variables, so I can read this on my draw that's happening at the same time the ghost is getting created, kind of. So the game errors out because these variables don't exist yet. So I think what makes smarter, I think what is a smarter solution is to basically create some sort of quote unquote debug screen where I have to press a button for this to launch. Yeah, on button press, I can set something, and if that's set to true, it can draw everything on the screen. So if I do that, I'm hoping I can get rid of the global variables. Okay, so we'll backtrack a little bit. First, we should get rid of all the global variables that we don't need. Clean up Gussy's code a little bit to make it less redundant. Get a debug screen working that I can easily manipulate and control. Then once we have all of that, we'll move on to the air. Okay, we're gonna do all that, and then we're gonna move on to the air. I wanna do the air though. I really wanna do the air, but I gotta do this. This list is gonna keep getting longer. If I don't practice some good etiquette soon, this is just gonna become a mess. There's no reason to have this. No reason. It's in the camera too. Why is it in the camera? It doesn't need to be in the camera. I should create a global variable object that happens on Rube Start. That's much cleaner than stuff in the camera. I just do that because, you know, oh, interesting. That's something too. Ghusty, can I set some variables at room start for you? I don't know what room start is. Do you see it? Pre-draw. Look at this. Draw begin, end. There's so much. There's so much I don't understand. That's okay. We'll figure it out. You know what I should also do is I should just watch a flow chart of GameMaker Studio to understand what the hex is happening when with the event order or some of this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna look up debug menu tutorials for GameMaker Studio 2. I'll follow something that looks pretty good, and we'll get a debug menu going for Ghusty so I can clean up some of my mess. You know what's funny too is I'm doing all this hoping that my future plans work. And if they don't work, I'm gonna have to rewire Ghusty a little bit, and that's okay. Part of me thinks I should like practice Ghusty's animation process as well, but I'm gonna get some more of the functionality working first before I do that. So debug menu, blow air, blow out candles. Man, I'm excited. I'm really excited to redo the camera too, because I want to do that nostalgia view. Cool. Okay. Now I'm just getting lost in what could be. I'm gonna get some sleep. We're gonna tackle this sometime tomorrow. Debug menu. Check it out. I call it a debug menu, but it's not. It's not a debug menu. So let's rephrase it. Let's call it a helpful variable menu for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Ta-da! Look, it's so much nicer and cleaner. So I'll change these out as I'm trying to, like, you know, problem solve, making sure that certain variables are being set correctly. And I can turn it on and off, on and off, on and off, no problem. And the way I did that, draw a text I was doing, just giving it X position and a Y position. And I thought I was really clever because I gave Y position a 0. And on create, I create a line height of 8. So every time it draws a line, it just adds 8 over and over and over again. So I get like the nice stepping. And for each line, because 99% of the time I'm trying to QC a variable to make sure it's doing what I think it could be doing or it should be doing, I create the plus sign. And no, it's not needed, but it's just nice because it visually separates things for me. So I can put the variable here. So like if I can copy, I need to replace something, paste that, good to go. But I found a YouTube video right here, I'll link it in the description below, that talks about how to scale text properly, which I didn't know how to do. So I created a font that's called Debug font, and I just set it to 30, which is large, same size that he used in the video. Yeah, then I just scaled it down to a size that works for me, and copy paste. So if I need to do another line of variables to QC, I can just do that. There we go. Okay, cool. So it'll add a new thing, and then I can just, you know, pick whatever variable I'm trying to read in, and then it works. So now we'll have 3 trying to say this variable. So this is going to help a lot, because I feel like the whole issue I was having with him not scaling properly, it could have easily been solved if I knew what I was doing, but also it could have easily been solved if I knew the variable wasn't returning correctly. Which gets me really excited about potentially doing like a whole menu that just helps me understand what's happening under the hood. And I bet you anything something like that exists. Just don't know what it is yet, but I will figure it out as I level up. So now with a cleaner workflow like this, the hope is I can get rid of a lot of these global variables. And the reason that I'm hoping that is because the debug isn't drawing itself until after the game starts running. Oh, and also I just do an if show. So by default, show debug is set to false. If it's true, set it to false. If otherwise, set it to true. And then if show debug is true, spell this command. Okay, so I'm hoping now that I can read in local variables. That was the whole reason. So let's just create a variable over here on Ghusty. We'll call this, please work, equals yes. So now we go into our text one. My hope is this works because it'll draw after Ghusty is already in the room. So it shouldn't error out, which is basically why I made so many global variables, so I can read them. Nope, that's not how it works. That's not how that works. Not set before reading it. It's so funny because Ghusty's drawn already. My only thought is that even if it's on the create event, it won't read correctly. For fun, let's... Here. That would work, right? That works. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I figured it out. I did some research, so it works. And the reason it works is because I told it to, hey, use this variable that's found in this object. So now that this is done, what I can do now is go into my junk drawer and clean all this out. Okay, so I'm gonna clean all this out, and if I need a global, I'll create another object container to hold my global variables, so I won't have to spam it in my camera. So let's actually do that right now. Cut, asset, objects, add events, room start. All right, global variables moved. All this variables. There she is. That's good. Yep. For now, we're just gonna put it here. We'll just have to deal with this for now. Things should still work as is. Yes. Great. That all works. Perfect. Okay. So now that this is done, we will go through and clean up Ghusty. Where's Ghusty at? There, let's take... Okay, I'm gonna clean all this up and I'll be right back. Okay, We're all cleaned up. I switched this game start just so I know for sure these variables do exist at the start of the game. I don't need these variables as global, but I like them here. It brings me comfort, so I'm gonna keep them there. And then for Ghusty, I moved the ones that didn't need to be global for sure, logically and emotionally. I moved them here. And I think that's basically deleted some stuff that was empty that I didn't need. I think that's about it for the most part. I still want to clean this up some because I do know this could be simplified, but it works, so I'm just going to leave it for now. Come back to that. But for right now, I will just leave that as is. Yeah. Okay, so everything should still work. Play. Ghusty moves around. Takes damage. Blows air. Recharges, I can press B. I can see some variables if I want to see them. But I think we're good. Everything's cleaner. We can read the text better. It's a little more tightened up. We're learning, we're growing. But cool, okay. We're good. Ghusty's looking good. We're doing it. But we're gonna call that a day today, and I will start working on the air poofs tomorrow. Awesome.